Okay, welcome back to another episode of Banking Without Borders. So Monzo just launched in Europe, and the way they've done it is actually really smart. They started in Ireland back in April.
Free accounts for all the family. You've waited long enough. Monzo.
But Ireland isn't really the point. The real reason is that an Irish banking license gives them access to all 27 EU member states. And with that, they've already announced their next target, Spain, which is also a very deliberate choice because this market has already proven that digital banking works. And a stat that I find utterly astonishing is that 1 in 3 new bank accounts opened in Spain in the last 3 years were with Revolut. So Monzo isn't going somewhere that's untested. They're going somewhere that's already been cracked open, and Revolut, N26, Wise, Bunk, all of those banks are in their sights. So the question isn't really whether Europe is ready for this kind of bank or is ready for another digital bank. I think that answer is clear. The question is, can Monzo compete? And what is their actual plan? But before we get into that, Jan, you spotted something very interesting about how Monzo's Spain launch works and how it could potentially be illegal.
Yeah, Johnny, it could potentially be illegal, at least to our understanding.
Okay.
So what Monzo has done is they've launched a waitlist in Spain. And if you look at the requirements on their website, this seems to be only available to Spanish residents. But under EU law, my understanding is that they can't enforce that. As a EU licensed bank,
Interesting.
I'd understand it that you would have to offer a basic account to any EU resident who applies, right? So whether they're based in Germany, whether they're based in France, as long as they don't hold a bank account in that specific country. So in Spain, in this example, Monzo would have to offer some sort of basic account. That's my understanding, at least. It seems like they understand this slightly differently. Also, you've mentioned they've launched in Ireland. They did that actually last month in April 2026. And if you look at the website, I can't find any information about non-residents being able to open up a basic account. And that could be quite a dangerous topic for them. But time will tell whether they'll actually get into trouble for that. Maybe we also understand this requirement wrong. I don't know, but to me it's pretty obvious. And yeah.
That's really interesting. I think when we talk about the outlook for Monzo in Europe, it's really important to provide context on the behemoth of Europe in terms of digital banking, which is Revolut, and the product that they're offering, or the set of features, or the plans, the tiers. And I know a lot of people listening to this and watching this will be very familiar with Revolut, so I'll be quick here. But this is what Monzo are coming up against. So Revolut have a free tier, they have an expensive tier, and it goes all the way up to 55 euros a month, depending where you are in the world. That might be 60, it might be 65 euros. They offer so much. They've got a free local IBAN, you get fee-free spending, you get fee-free ATM withdrawals, I believe up to 200 euros. You get fee-free currency exchange up to 1,000 euros. You get a savings account at 1.15% for the basic tier. You've got Rev points. You've got an app rich with features, crypto, stocks, rewards. It's everything you could ever envisage. You've got eSIMs, you've got probably mobile phone contracts coming to Europe at some point. There's a lot going on here. Jan, could you, I don't think it's going to take you very long, could you share with us what Monzo have, or at least what they're offering in Ireland?
Yeah, they've just,
I appreciate they haven't fully launched in Spain yet.
They've just launched their free account. So we know Monzo offers typically the free account, then they offer perks, and then they offer max. These paid account with additional subscriptions. In Ireland, that's not the case. They literally just launched their free account. It's a solid bank account though, which is arguably better than Revolut. Not arguably, it's clearly better than what Revolut provides in the standard tier. So you get a local Irish IBAN. You get fee-free spending abroad, and they use the MasterCard exchange rate. They do not use the Monzo rate as Revolut does with the Revolut rate, where there's a markup somehow included. So it's a better travel card.
Yes. Good.
And then you get 300 euros in fee-free ATM withdrawals every 30 days. So that's 100 more than what Revolut provides. After that's a 2.5% fee. On the instant access savings account, get 1.6% AER, while Revolut standard provides 1.15%. So that's better. And then you get this really intuitive and amazing app, right?
Yeah, it is.
Which feels a lot less cluttered than what Revolut has to offer. But what you don't get is, these additional things that Revolut is known for: stock trading, eSIMs, insurance, these kind of things, right? You can't access that within Monzo yet, and you also don't have any sort of subscription upgrade available, right? But who knows? Maybe that will come. But for now, I think their strategy is launching a really, really good basic bank account within Europe, within several European countries, EU countries, and then have build up their customer base from that. And once they have a solid amount of customers within the EU, most likely they will start launching their pay tiers as well. Just a matter of time.
Some of these Monzo features, they sound very intentional, like 300 euros of fee-free ATM withdrawals being 100 more, the savings account being better than Revolut. Do you think there is an argument that you could make that Monzo have clearly looked at the incumbent, which is, funnily enough, Revolut now, and Monzo the challenger? You think Monzo looked at what Revolut are offering and go, well, we've got to do better than them. And it's not even that challenging.
It's not challenging. In the UK, they're already doing better than them. If you compare Revolut Standard to Monzo's standard account, Monzo is clearly the winner. It's not even a question. Monzo has the better pure financial benefit banking account. 100%, no questions asked.
Yeah. And that's quite clear from, how much money Monzo are making per customer and the amount of deposits they've got per customer, which we'll get onto shortly. But I just want to hold on this for a moment. So if Monzo are offering initially a better bank account, basic bank account than Revolut, the challenge is going to be overcoming the stickiness of Revolut's products because they're not offering that, Jan. Not yet, at least. This is initially a beta test almost, but they have to start offering package stuff, don't they? They've got to find the Monzo Max for Europe. They've got to find the Monzo Perks for Europe to try to overcome the stickiness of Revolut customers, because there will surely be people that are happy with the basic banking features but love the extras that Revolut have to offer. And if you're watching this, listening to this, and you're in the European Union and you're using Revolut, we'd love to hear from what compels you to use a bank account that isn't necessarily that competitive. Like Jan's just laid out the free tier. That's what we're talking about today. The free tier offering 1.15% savings, limited ATM withdrawals. Are you using that tier? And if you are, what compels you to use it? Because there must be something better. I mean, I was looking at Open Bank, I think, or is it Open Bank from Santander, Jan?
Open Bank, yeah, exactly.
Buddy, they're offering 200 euros of cashback annually. They pay 20 euros per month for having 2 direct debits. I mean, that's got to be more compelling than what Revolut are offering, right? Because at least you can get that money back, particularly if you don't have a large amount of savings or you put your savings elsewhere, because Revolut aren't really offering much in terms of savings. So what is it? It must be the products. It must be the extras, right? It must be the subscription tiers that make people stick to Revolut.
That's a good question.
So if you can outbank Monzo, if Monzo can outbank Revolut and outbank them on the extras, that could then start, competition then could really ramp up.
Yeah, I think it's also...
It's already, sorry.
Johnny, I think it's also the seamlessness, the app, right? The intuitiveness. If you Open Bank, for example, it's a good example, but the app is just not as good as Revolut's, I would say. And Revolut,
interesting.
They do so much marketing around that. They want to be the challenger bank, the travel card, right? If you go to a Spanish airport, if it's an international one, chances are you'll see some sort of Revolut ATM, or you see some sort of Revolut advertisement. They're literally everywhere now, and they're growing so fast, it's insane. And sometimes not the companies with the best products win, but the companies that do the best marketing. And Revolut Standard it's an entry point. People start with Revolut Standard as they would start with Monzo's free tier, and then look at other tiers as they as they're satisfied as time passes. They might decide to upgrade to premium, to metal, in order to make the most out of it. But I don't think that's literally in anyone's mind when they sign up with Revolut initially.
Interesting. Word of mouth was a big way for Monzo to acquire customers here in the UK. I mean, they were one of the first digital banks, so it was quite easy to talk about them, in pubs, bars, clubs, at work. The orange hot coral card or the orange card was attractive.
Beautiful.
And people would ask you, what is that? Yeah. I don't think that's going to have the same effect in Europe, because we know that digital banking has already taken off. And like you just mentioned, Revolut have got a fantastic app. They've got all sorts of funky cards themselves as well. So I don't know if that's going to be a huge pull either. While I think Monzo have got, obviously I agree, I think they've got the better banking product. I still don't see how, again, curious to hear what people have to say about this in the comments, how they can dethrone or even take some of Revolut's market share. Besides those people like us, like the people probably watching and listening to this, that have an interest in these things. So they open the account because they're interested in seeing what it looks like. But at a large scale, I think Monzo are going to have to do a lot to try to take a wider European audience,
Johnny,
and start to get the momentum of word of mouth.
They have big pockets, right? They have big pockets. They make $1.7 billion in pounds. Sorry, 1.7 billion pounds in in revenue every single year.
Amazing.
They have
Amazing.
big pockets.
From how many customers?
From 15.2 million overall customers, and that's more per customer than Revolut earns. Actually, it's a nice side effect. So Monzo earns 112 pounds per customer per year, and Revolut on the other hand, they only earn 66 pounds per customer per year. And it's quite fascinating, right? So why does Monzo earn twice as much for per customer than Revolut does, for example? I guess because Monzo is the better core financial product.
Yes.
Right? People choose Monzo for their daily banking because they believe that the standard tier is already good enough and more comprehensive than what Revolut provides. And Revolut, on the other hand, it's a good additional account that you might have alongside your existing high street bank account or Monzo account.
Yeah, so Monzo have twice as much money per head, but far fewer customers. That is fascinating, Jan. And that must come from the interest a significant portion of that, I imagine, is being earned on the interest that they have or generate from customer deposits.
Potentially.
Which is, I believe, 25.7 billion pounds in customer deposits.
That's half of what Revolut has, right? Half.
Revolut has exactly 50 billion pounds in deposits. And so many more customers. Will people treat Monzo in the same way they treat it in the UK, though, in Europe, whereby they seem to have more faith in depositing large sums of money? We know Revolut have only just become licensed in the UK. That's probably been a bit of a challenge, caused a bit of friction. Monzo are going into Europe somewhat unknown. They don't have the same, brand equity or reputational equity that they have here in the UK. So people might be a little fearful to deposit money with Monzo in Europe. They're going to have to overcome that as well. Whereas Revolut have been licensed in Lithuania since 2018, have had deposit protection all that time. That might be a barrier of entry as well here, Jan.
Well, not sure. Monzo holds a banking license, so there's literally it's literally equally good, right? An Irish banking license is equally good to a Lithuanian one, same deposit protection, and therefore, what's the issue? I don't think that people in Europe really think a lot before deciding to invest or to deposit a lot of money with their bank, because there's literally zero risk.
So what are people in Europe looking for?
What are they looking for? It's a good question.
Chime in the comments, please, by all means. But what are you looking for then? Are you looking for a Revolut are you looking for the whole package, or do you just want you just want a better bank account, because that's what Monzo are going to offer you here? And trust me, their app is fantastic. I know, Jan, you haven't got access to it. I've used it. I've tested it for months. I've got videos on the channel if you want to learn a little bit more about it. It's fantastic. And it's just as good as Revolut, if not better. It's more subjective in some degree, so you might like the colors, the layout of Monzo, but ultimately the products comparatively to Revolut in terms of budgeting, like the basic banking stuff like budgeting, savings challenges, Revolut and Monzo are tied. So how are you going to, what is going to attract you to one or the other? That's what I want to hear. That's what I want to know about.
That's a good question. I can speak for me personally. If I was in Europe right now looking for a decent bank account, probably the core financial benefits that would attract me. Also, as people know, I hold a Revolut account, but it's literally just my side account, and I'm not subscribed to any paid tier because I'm not in need of these subscriptions personally. I do know people who use these paid tiers who are very, very satisfied and obviously take advantage of them. And there's, don't misunderstand me. It's not me criticizing their paid tiers. I believe they hold a lot of value if you use these subscriptions. But for me personally, if I was to look for a bank account to open up, I would literally look at the core financial benefits, because then I'm in need for a bank account and not for a subscription bundle.
I don't know a huge amount about business banking in the European Union, but if it's anything like the UK, it's probably behind personal banking slightly by a few years, and
Feels
a bit
like
more
it.
legacy, a bit older,
Absolutely.
a bit more archaic. Yeah, and I imagine the savings rates aren't that good. And Monzo are also going after business banking customers, which they're already more successful at in the UK comparatively to Revolut. Even though they're 4 to 5 times smaller than Revolut, they've actually got more business banking customers. So they're going to take that playbook, they're going to apply it to Europe, and they've already got tiers, like paid tiers. Jan, I think there may be 3 tiers that they've got for business banking customers in Ireland. So then they're unafraid of having paid tiers. Okay, that tells you something. And I think that we'll see that in Europe. I think they will launch with different, they'll launch different subscriptions, different paid tiers in the European Union, because that is also just a fantastic source of recurring revenue. It's also super, super important. I just want to take a slight sidetrack and talk about Chase, Jan, just quickly, because this is important. I want to get your thoughts on this. Savings. Is this attractive? Because neither Monzo or Revolut are really offering a very compelling savings rate, but Chase UK, now Chase DE, Chase Germany, have just launched 4% savings in Europe. Do you think that is necessary to compel people? Revolut are offering a better savings rate to the European Union if you pay for it. Maybe that's something Monzo will need to consider as well, because, we're sport for choice in the UK, but 1.6% is what Monzo are offering. Is that even attractive, mate? I don't get it. It's better than Revolut, but it's not Chase who are offering 4% in Germany.
Yeah, Johnny, that comparison just doesn't hold up. You cannot compare GBP interest rates with EUR interest rates at the moment. The base rate in the UK is 3.75%. Base rate in the European Union is 2.0%, and therefore Monzo offering 1.6%. That's 20% lower than the base rate. That's as if they were offering, make the math here really quick, 20% off 3.75%, like 3% or so in the UK, right? So it's decent. It's not bad at all. Obviously, there are better UK savings rates available. Just take a quick look at depositscout.com. Hate to plug that in here right now, but it's a good example. But Monzo, by no means, it's bad. 1.6% is somewhat competitive. And yes, Chase launched in Germany at 4%, but that's also limited for four months. And that's a savings account, a pure savings account, to my understanding. But there are better options. If you're just looking for savings rate, you could go sign up with Trade Republic. They have a current account in place that's available within several EU countries. Actually, I think most of them offers 2%, and that's tied to the base rate. So Monzo is not winning on the rate, but I also don't think it's a criteria that would exclude them, from being a good bank account.
Yeah. To be fair to them, in Ireland, they started with a waiting list of 100,000 people. They're already off to a pretty good start out there. Now they've got this very competitive bank account with this good savings account. Word of mouth should help with their growth. Whether or not it can put them on the same trajectory, the same growth path as Revolut, that's yet to be seen. That would be incredibly impressive if 2 to 3 years from now they're catching up with Revolut. But by offering a better foundational bank account, they could certainly puts them on the right track. Who's going to win in Europe if we look across a 5 to 10 year path outlook, Jan? If I was to put my money, okay, let's do this. This could be fun, right? Who would you bet on being the bigger European bank? So forget about the UK. We're talking about European Union. Forget about the UK. Forget about the rest of the world. Who's going to be bigger in the European Union in 10 years? Yeah.
Johnny, that's a good question. Revolut obviously has a big head start, but I would say Monzo, with their current banking product, which is superior to what Revolut has to provide in their free tier, I would say they catch up fast. That's my guess. And I would say they'd probably they'd probably somewhat on the same level in a few years. That's my guess. Revolut might have a few more customers, but Monzo would have probably more active customers or more valuable customers, because they just attract people because they offer good banking, and they don't attract people because they have so many different subscriptions. And that's my point of view here. Could be wrong. Time will tell.
This episode is sponsored by us. Specifically depositscout.com, which is a site that Jan and I built with our fingers. Savings rates in the UK are changing constantly, and most people have no idea whether the account they're still using is competitive. The rate that topped the market 6 months ago might be in the bottom half of the table today, and your bank is certainly not going to tell you. Deposit Scout tracks every major savings account and cash ISA in one place, so you've got easy access, fixed rates, and they're all updated daily, and you can set up rate alerts so you're never caught out. We've also just added rate history graphs, and this is where it gets interesting. Take Plum, for example. You can see they've changed their advertised rate repeatedly over the past few months. So that tells you that if you like the look of one of their rates, you're probably better off locking in sooner rather than later before they move it again. All of that and much more is available at depositscout.com. We'll put the link in the description box below. Monzo have closed the US, and I think this is important context. They've not retreated necessarily. They've just dialed down to focus on Europe. Whereas if you look at Revolut's operation, it is global, from Japan to Australia to New Zealand to South America. So they're spread thin, But they also, Revolut don't really have capital constraints, do they? They've got a $75 billion valuation. There'll be an IPO at some point to raise money. I'm sure Monzo will IPO at some point as well to raise money. And they're also the primary bank account for a lot of people in not only Spain, but France and Germany. They do have a significant advantage. But at the same time, Monzo's focus will lie heavily in Europe now. The UK is set and forget almost, and they're going to gun for Europe. And I think that will work in their favor.
That's an advantage.
And if anyone can compete with Revolut, Jan, it's Monzo. I think when you look at the others, N26, Bunk, I think from a branding perspective, N26 has some problems. I think Bunk is too expensive.
Yeah.
Monzo are offering a free account that is better than Revolut, that is better than a lot of the competition, and it is on top of a fantastic app, fantastic customer service, great brand equity, reputational equity in the UK. So they have a significant opportunity here. I mean, Jan mentioned something interesting about Monzo immediately having a better travel card because they're offering MasterCard's FX rates rather than Revolut's own exchange rate, right, Jan? So is Revolut your current travel card? People in Ireland? If you're in Spain, Germany, would you consider changing to Monzo when they launch? Because they're probably going to be offering you a better travel card.
What could stop them?
Capital.
Regulatory problems?
Yeah.
That's the thing. That's what stopped N26 in the past. They had many issues with people trying to do, criminals essentially signing up, trying to, launder money through their accounts or something. I'm not exactly sure what happened there, but the German financial watchdog had to restrict them so tightly. At one point, they were, I think, not allowed to onboard any new customers anymore. And that's, for a bank that's in hyper-growth stage, it's like if you're taking a bath and you pull out the plug, right? That's what happens there. It's not good at all, right? And it's literally it took out all the power, all the fuel, and then they just lost the battle.
And then
they lost the battle.
Exactly, and then they've been forgotten about. Their branding was never that strong.
They were on par with Revolut in the beginning, and they were even superior in Germany, and then it just died out. Their product just isn't as good. Maybe
Revolut would just absorb them. This could be a bit of a consolidation phase.
Hey, that's a good
neobanking and financial tech. Revolut could just buy out N26.
Yeah, maybe that's what we'll see in the future. The bigger challenger banks acquiring the smaller ones. I mean, it would be natural.
Monzo might have problems with regulation. They may have problems with capital expenditure. Like they've been so dependent on word of mouth. I think 76 or 79% of their new customers in the UK come through word of mouth. That's not going to work in Europe. They're going to have to be willing to spend on marketing, which their pockets aren't as deep as Revolut. That could stop them.
But it's still very deep.
But
they're still very deep.
They're still very deep, and ultimately, they are very squeaky clean. I think they had some anti-money laundering issues or some regulation issues regarding like new accounts were being set up with like funny addresses. I don't know if you remember reading about this. People were setting up addresses as like 10 Downing Street. They're still a lot cleaner, I think, in terms of reputation than Revolut. And that's going to be on their side here. So I don't really see anything that could necessarily stop Monzo from succeeding. Keen to hear what people have to say about that one as well. What could prevent Monzo, particularly if you are, a European or a non, I'm European, I'm from the UK, but you know what I mean, from the European Union. Particularly love to hear like what could stop Monzo from compelling you to sign up? What is it that you're looking for? A lot of things to talk about in the comments, so please jump in, let us know your thoughts, and pleasure as always, right, Jan?
Pleasure as always. It's been great. Good topic also. I'm curious what everyone has to say. Write into the comments as Johnny just said, and we see you in the next episode hopefully.
Yep.
Like and subscribe.
See you soon.
Bye.